Hey, what's good, everybody? Welcome to another live session with the Hype Magazine. I'm your editor-in-chief, Jerry Doby, and this afternoon I have a really distinct pleasure. I get to talk to the man who is making some amazing moves and bringing the party to everybody. I've got Brian Henry. He is the founder of B-Hen Block Party, and this year, during on June 18th, I think he's going to go down. Again, he's got a national movement. He moves these block parties from city to city across the country. And he's just an amazing person. An HBCU grad. We're going to talk about that as well when we get down to it. But for now, welcome, and I appreciate you being here, Brian.
Thanks for having me, Jerry. How you doing this afternoon? Oh, out in your part of the country? Where you at, by the way?
Man, I'm in Kansas City. I'm out here for the barbecue. You know what it is.
Okay.
Best barbecue in the world.
816. Okay. That's in the 816. Okay.
No, I'm in the 913, actually.
On the 913, on the other side of Kansas City.
On the other side of Kansas City. I'm on the Kansas side.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. Better barbecue on this side. I do trip across the bridge over to the Missouri side for some Gates, though. I can't get away from Gates. You know what I mean? So it's great. So, man, it's a pleasure to have you with us. I love your movement. I've been researching a little bit, but I want to get started by letting people know who you are. So from the inside looking out, talk to us about Brian Henry.
Sure. As you say, I'm Brian Henry, originally from Baltimore, Maryland. Military brat, so I've had the opportunity to live a little bit of everywhere across the country, but I've been residing in LA for the last decade or so, where I make my mark as an entertainer and DJ. You know, when I'm not jet setting across the country making people dance, I'm doing it right here in Los Angeles.
Okay. What was the defining moment that brought you to the entertainment industry?
Man, I think I had the pleasure and the honor to do a lot of things that I hated. Seriously, you know, I took the straight and narrow path for a number of years. You know, working in corporate America, I worked on Wall Street and worked in the insurance industries, and worked in the telecom industries, and had a honor of doing a lot of things. I was even on the path to go to graduate school, go to business school. You know, I was very much on the path to graduate from Harvard Business School. I had done a summer venture and management program there. You know, it's a program that more or less gets more folks of color into the pipeline to be a graduate of one of the best business schools in the world. But as I was going through that process, I realized something about it just didn't connect with me. You know, I love music. I've always loved music, but I didn't know exactly what to do with it. And I was like, you know what, instead of me taking this indirect path, let me jump off the path of going to B school and DJ. I want to DJ. I'm going to try it out for a year, see what happens. And if I don't, I'll have an amazing admission story. But that's been over a decade ago, so we never turned back and went back down that path. I'm blessed to be, you know, musically illustrated moments across the country as well as some international dates as well.
Okay. It is fun. I always ask DJs, do you remember the first record that you mixed and scratched?
Ooh, the first record and mixed and scratch. I don't remember the first record I mixed and scratch. I wanted to take a path where I actually learned the core fundamentals of turntablism. So I enrolled in the Scratch Academy, founded by Jam Master Jay, late Jam Master Jay, Rum DMC, and they have a campus here in Los Angeles. And so I literally wanted to learn from those who could truly teach me the art of being a DJ. And so shout out to Chalk from the Beat Junkie, shout out to DJ Hopper, who really gave me my foundation. And what I do remember for sure is that they didn't allow us to use any technology. You are literally on wax, on vinyl, you know, learning how to DJ. And so, you know, I always get surprised when sometimes people are surprised by me. They're like, oh, you like a real DJ. I'm like, yeah, bro.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm thankful to have learned a lot of the foundation from Scratch Academy, and it's led me to where I am today.
Yeah. No shade on anybody, but just because you use controller and Smirnoff and things like that doesn't mean that you're a dang on DJ. You need to have some experience on wax, having carried crates of this, that, and the third. So how did that experience as a DJ through your journey as you navigated the maze, how did that translate into you throwing these block party stuff?
Well, you know, we started throwing this block party, you know, back in 2014 as actually as a birthday party. You know, it was my intention to host this event at a nightclub, and the nightclub was like, yeah, you know, you can have your people come here. We're gonna set up music. Don't play too much of that hip hop. I'm like, excuse me, what do you mean? They're like, yeah, like, you know, you can play more than 89 hip hop, but none of that trap stuff. And you know, that's just code for you saying that you want my business, you want our money, but you don't fully stand in support of my culture. The crazy thing about it, I'm not even a super trap DJ, but I was deeply offended by, being dictated what I can and cannot play, And so in response to that, we were behind one of my boys' buildings one day and said, yo, it's a parking lot back here. Let's throw a block party. And it started from there, something that was just as 250 people. We didn't even have a photographer for the first one. We didn't even know exactly what we had. And that was in 2014. We've been throwing it annually ever since. And now we're approaching 2,000 plus guests. So it's definitely been a movement that's grown tremendously. And I'm thankful for everybody who, supports it year over year, as well as the new folks who learn about it year over year, and they come through all the time with us.
It's an amazing movement. Look, through your career, I understand you DJ for Cardi B, the Obamas, Pharrell, Beyonce, some of the most demanding and highly regarded personalities in the business. So the block party, traveling from coast to coast in select cities, gives people a taste of some live action. And how's been the response? I mean, like, when did you realize, as you moved your party across the country, that this was an overwhelming success?
Well, at first I was against taking it outside of Los Angeles because people have this perception in LA that everybody is Hollywood and pretentious and all of these things. And there's a segment of people that may apply to. But, what I found is that people were perpetually intimidated by going out. Girls were worried about what type of dress you have to have on or how high their heels need to be. And the fellows was like, dang, I got to spend $1,000 on bottle service. So I wanted to do away with all the things that more or less separate us in the nightlife experience. So what makes the B-Hen Block Party unique is that there's no VIP, there's no guest list, there's no sections. I believe that music conjoins and brings us together, and anything that separates us isn't music, and therefore it isn't love. And so we created an environment that's, representative of love. And what I'm most excited about it, this year in partnering with DIAGEO, we get to expand into some different markets. We are taking this event from Los Angeles to DC to Chicago, as well as New York, And so, of course, no matter where we go, we're encouraging everybody 21 and over to drink responsibly, and we're just excited to have DIAGEO on board as partners as we celebrate the month of June. It's like a Joy of June celebration, particularly surrounding Juneteenth as we kick off here this weekend.
Yeah, I think they actually called it the Joy of June is one of the tags. And, I think that it's beautiful that DIAGEO has come aboard. They have supported so many things in our culture through their different brands. I don't know if we can say the brands or not. Smirnoff, Crown Royal, DeLeon Tequila. I'm saying anyway. It's my show. I can say what I want to say. They're not paying me, by the way. This is not a sponsored situation, but they're amazing people over there, and they embrace the culture. But I want to talk to you about something, because HBCU grad. So activities on the quad are legendary.
Absolutely.
At the HBCUs. How did you bring that, like, ambiance, that energy to the block party?
Because it's all about the performance. It's all about showing out, being your flyest, and embracing people. That's what I love about my HBCU experience so much. I tell people all the time, it's the gift that keeps on giving. It's by far the best decision I've ever made in my life to attend Morehouse College and graduate Morehouse College. I hold a BA in economics, and it's beyond the education. It's the deepening the sense of self that I experienced while at the institution, and the lifelong friends that literally people are like, oh, that's my friend from college. I'm like, nah, that's my friend today. Like,
Right.
even I've had hiccups in some of the infrastructure of building this event, as every event does from time to time. I get on the horn and send a few text messages, and now I got recommendations from across the country for whatever may have slipped, But then even again, to that point of how we integrate that into our event, it's just a large performance element. I have a lot of energy as a DJ. When I
Okay.
was in college, I was on step teams out on the yard, doing different things. And, it's just amazing to find partners who also believe in that vision. DIAGEO has a commitment to $10 million to 25 HBCUs, to enhance our respective endowments. So partnering with a company that actually believes in the essence of who I am, or champions the essence of who I am and where I came, is crazy important. And so again, we bring a lot of lively elements into the block party. I tell people all the time, don't get there on CP time, get there early, because
Ah,
you will miss key elements of the performance that we really come to bring a show.
okay.
It's more than just a DJ on stage playing records. No, we are hyper engaged with the audience.
Okay. So this is going down Saturday, June 18th, a couple of days after my birthday. I really wish I could be there. If I was a person to get on the plane, I would make a special trip home to LA. I'm from South Central myself, so I would make a special trip home
Just
to experience this. It's amazing what you're doing, and I've just been able to, through my research, I've not experiencing it, but through my research, I'm like, yo, this is something that could be, it belongs around the national holiday. It's that kind of party. You know what I mean? So what does it mean to you to really have this support during Juneteenth? Like, do you normally do it around Juneteenth?
Yeah, that's the funny thing about it. Everybody's on Juneteenth now because it's a national holiday. We've been
Right.
doing it on Juneteenth for years. I didn't learn. I learned about Juneteenth when I was a sophomore in high school. I used to do these summer programs at Texas Southern University, like
Okay.
these upper bound math and science programs. I was doing my best to get away from my family at the
Right.
time, but also enhancing. I knew at that time I wanted to go to college, and so let me spend a summer learning all about different aspects of HBCU culture. Taking classes throughout the day, and that's when I was first introduced to Juneteenth. Understanding that our ancestors were emancipated in 1867, but unfortunately, that information didn't travel into the state of Texas and some lower parts of Louisiana until 1860. 2 years later, 1867. So it was like a jubilee. It's a celebration of our freedom, and that's where Juneteenth came from. And so, on the onset of the block party, when we moved it away from my birthday, we shifted it into the Juneteenth weekend. But I'm super happy that as a whole, the country is beginning to celebrate this. But we've been here. We've been doing this for a while now.
I love it the way that you put that together. That Juneteenth is a jubilee, and the B-Hen Block Party is the physical representation of that. What it would have been to hear, "Oh, you're free," today. The party that they would have had back then, I can
Okay.
imagine. So,
And that's what we do. We replicate. It's Black Joy. We're celebrating Black excellence. We're celebrating all the amazing things that are happening within our community. And I'm always intentional about making sure that we have a space that's always outdoors. You know what I'm saying? Because outdoors represents a sense of freedom as well. When you're closed off in the club, that's when your persona comes on. That's when it's hyper masculine or whatever personality comes out. Whereas when you're outdoors and you're experiencing, a celebration, it gives a level of freedom, and that's indicative of the day that we're celebrating, Juneteenth. So all of this is by design. It's extremely intentional.
that's beautiful that you thought that out, because you know what, I have noticed people are more inclined to say hello outdoors than they are inside. Inside, they're more worried about if you're going to step on their J's, what I mean, which didn't used to be a fashion statement when I came up, showing my age. But they're more friendly and more community oriented when you're outside. So it's a beautiful thing. Where in LA is this particular block party going to be on the 18th?
Like, we hosted downtown near the Arts District. We're always
Okay.
secretive. We don't release the exact location until we get a little closer to it because we always want to have a surprise and delight. But it's always in an area that's relatively desolate. That's a non-residential area, so we can avoid any type of complaints.
Right.
And we do it. We identify, no matter where we go across the country, we identify these locations that otherwise people wouldn't be interested in being at. We build everything from scratch. We bring in the stage, the lighting, the security, the bars, the bartenders, every aspect that you may otherwise experience in a party environment, we build from scratch. And we overwhelmingly make sure that our vendors are are African American. We had 92 people on staff last year, and 85 of those folks were African American. So we're supporting Black businesses through and through to make sure that we all have an amazing time, an amazing celebration, as well as the DJs. It would not happen without my DJ sisters and DJ brothers who come through and celebrate us every year. And this year we have Erie Hall, Mad, and Yannick Jones to come to celebrate with us and rock the party.
Oh, that's dope. So I think it's important to reiterate that you're not excluding anyone from the staff, but the majority of the staff are the people who represent Black, Indigenous, people of color.
Absolutely. Definitely never an exclusion. That's the unique thing about the Block Party. It represents a sense of inclusivity. Everyone is welcome. Black, white, Latino, Asian, gay, straight, transgender, the whole LGBTQ community. We create an environment that we want to make sure that if you got $5 in your pocket, or if you've just won a Grammy, an Emmy, a Tony, and we have those people in the building. And it's funny because people, they be like, oh, such and such is here, such and such is here. We're like, oh, that's great, but there's no VIP for such and such. We one of our taglines is we say, look to your left, look to your right, say hey to your neighbor just like you in church. Or, there's no VIP, be who you were before you moved to LA. We don't give special treatment to anyone who, based on their respective accomplishments, because we believe that we're all amazingly incredible and talented. And so for one night, we want you to leave all of those things to the side. We want you to cast your worries to the side, as well as leave your resume at home. You might be bad, you might be bougie, but we don't need none of that in here. We just come here to dance, and that's what it's all about.
Okay. So how long were we talking about? 6-7 hours block party?
5-hour event, yeah.
Okay. Ooh, you need 3 DJs. I'm telling you. What's the longest set you ever DJ, by the way? Let me ask.
The longest set, probably more in the earlier set of my career, probably like 6 hours, 6 or 7 hours. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And that's nothing in comparison to, a lot of legendary DJs, especially house DJs. They would be playing sometimes for like 12 hours. The Frankie Knuckles and the Larry Levans, they would go on for days, and I'm largely inspired by them. What they were able to create at the Warehouse and Paradise Garage back in the day. Again, creating that environment of inclusivity where everybody was welcome. It's upon their shoulders, as well as Jazzy Jeff and my brother D Nice, and I love what those who've come before me have done, and I just look to continuously build upon it.
Okay. Well, speaking of people who've come before you, this has become a full production. So it's like having the Grammys or the Oscars or the VMAs live. I mean, from the lighting, hiring grips, gaffers, sound people, it's a full production, staging, the risers are there, the whole 9 yards. This is a business.
Absolutely.
It has evolved from me and the homies having fun putting it down for the hood, you know what I mean, just to make people feel good, to now it's a business aspect. What was the most surprising part of the business part as you navigated this maze?
I mean, without a doubt, the lack of professionalism that you sometimes come across in the industry. I got upset at myself at previous points. Like, I wish I was DJing when I was in middle school and in high school and in college. I didn't start DJing until after college. You know what I mean? But I've learned that everything it works out the way it's supposed to, because during those years, my dad, my mom had me in the books, and there's just a lot of elements of business acumen I learned in the corporate world, as well as just professionalism, just simple stuff, from structuring emails and following up and being responsive and being on time. And I'm often surprised by when we, work to bring on certain vendors or certain talent or whatnot, how they are just very laissez-faire and casual. But when we're running this event, not only as an event to celebrate, all that's great within our Blackness, and it's also a business, you have to treat it as such. And so that's the thing that I think sometimes surprises me. But we always got a plan B, a plan C, and a plan D, just in case that who we put our trust into for plan A, gets a little shifty.
Unfortunately, and not to put any shade on anybody, but in this age of babies raising babies, the conversations that we used to have from our pioneering Black entrepreneurs and business people about handling business, those discussions aren't necessarily had With the age of the internet, people just show up whenever they get ready. It's virtual, so punctuality may not necessarily be the thing. It's one of the discussions that we're missing. This is the old head preaching, you know what I mean? But I deal with that as well in the media. People not showing up to interviews on time and feeling like I have the rest of the day to attend to their needs. That's not business. So good that you pointed that out. What has been one of the most beautiful moments for you thus far in this 10-year journey?
I don't. It's so many. And so yeah, it's really been a blessing, to be able to. So it's not one particular moment. I think at this point, because I used to think that it was one thing, that if I got here, that this would be the defining moment of my career, and then everything else from there would be easy, or the phone would be ringing off the hook. And like, no, I've been on television and nobody called. But I've had other moments where I'm at a party, something that's for, small, for 30 to 50 people, and then the phone is blown up off the hook because it's just the feeling that people got in that moment. And so for me, the thing that means the most is like bringing us a sense of joy to people on the dance floor. We walk around with so much stuff on our backs, particularly post George Floyd era and everything, the uprising of 2020 and the awakening of 2020 more than anything else. So many of my people are just becoming more clear and more conscious and more aware of who we are, and dance represents a celebration of life and an opportunity to relieve stress. So when I see people come into an environment where I'm DJing and they may come in a little heavy, what brings me the most joy is to present music in a way that they may have never heard it, to release all the things that they may walk around with on a daily basis. And so for me, that's the thing that's like most special about DJing, and that's the element of my career that I love the most.
Okay. B-Hen Block Party, June 18th, Los Angeles. I happen to have the address. Do we want to give it out or do we not want to give it out?
We give it out to people who purchase tickets.
All right, let's give them the link to the tickets. And, in the editorial, I'll put it in there as well. So
for sure. The ticket link is simple. It's bhenblockparty.com, B-H-E-N blockparty.com, and all information for the events across the nation that we're hosting this summer season with our partners DIAGEO are all on board there. So I'm super excited, to see friends and family from across the country, as well as meet some new people in these different markets. Because oftentimes people follow you on social media and they see the hype of the event, but they don't get the opportunity to come to LA and experience it. Well, you know what? We were blessed at this point to have some great partners that now we're traveling to a city near you.
Okay. So what's your vision for this particular block party?
It's all about, harmony and homage. We'll be paying a lot of homage to the West Coast, to, we'll take people on a musical journey. I love to tell people all the time that DJing is like a full body massage. If you go to an event and you just hear trap all night, that's like going to masseuse and they just rubbed your left shoulder for an hour. You'd be like, well, damn, what about the rest of my body? And so for me, the rest of your body represents a different genre. You got soca on your right shoulder. You got some New Orleans bounce in your left hip. You got some Baltimore club in your right hip, and et cetera, et cetera. What they can experience is a huge, again, celebration of life, a celebration of joy, all of our blackness, all of our excellence, and we'll be playing music from across the diaspora, not just music from the States, but from across the Black diaspora around the world, to make sure that everybody feels welcome, paying homage and harmony, like just through and through.
Okay. As a DJ, an internationally recognized DJ, and people sing music from all over the world, you're hearing sounds and things like that, and you're creating music as well. Are you still able to get down with music as a consumer, or do you find yourself analyzing all the time? Has the listening experience been ruined for you?
Ooh, that's a great question. Yes and no. I can overthink anything, you know what I mean? So that my analytical ability is always at the forefront, but I always can tell when I'm having a great time when I'm not thinking, when I'm not. That's how I know I'm present. You know what I'm saying? That I'm so busy having a good time dancing or talking with my friends or hugging and smiling and laughing that I'm not overwhelmingly worried about each particular song selection that another DJ may be playing. I'm just more present to the overall energy and vibe. And so that's how I know I'm in the space of another amazingly talented DJ, when I'm having so much of a good time that I'm like, oh dang, the party, how long for how long has this been going on? You know, like who you still up there? Oh man, you killing it, you know. So it hasn't completely, you know, ruined me. I'm still a fan of the show.
Okay, dope.
Yeah.
My next two questions have to do with food.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, were you a? I have to. My pre question is, were you a scholarship student?
What made you ask that? That's because that's an interesting story.
Because I want to ask you, if you weren't a scholarship student who had a meal card and ate in the cafeteria, whatever, what was your most interesting struggle meal as a college student?
Ooh, so I missed the two-pronged question.
Right.
Yes and no as it relates to being a scholarship student. I didn't get a scholarship from my institution. And it's funny, I was sad and out, down and out, particularly my senior year of high school. My mom passed away from breast cancer.
I'm
My
so
mother
sorry.
Tracy during uh, March of my senior year of high school, and I appreciate it. And her best friend at the time told me, because I'm just distraught. She said, "Listen, if your mom was still here, would she have you sit here crying about you want to go to school and you don't have the money to go? If you really want to attend this institution, you really want to attend Morehouse, you will figure it out. You won't sit here and cry about it. You'll figure it out." And it's something I'm extremely passionate about when it comes to talking to students, you know, today as it relates to going to college, is that no matter your background or no matter the challenge that you may have experienced, you know, if you've done your best to focus on your studies, there is a scholarship with your name on it waiting for you to apply. You know, Jerry, I had $0 in March of the year I was my senior year of high school. But by the time August came, it was time for me to enroll in school. I had a $12,000 surplus of funds that became my refund. I applied to everything on every fraternity, sorority, church scholarship, you know, Papa John's, Pizza Hut, like any, it came to, it was just so many like 1,000, 2,000, $500 scholarships that I was blessed to receive, that I was just replicating the same essay, tweaking it. And that led to an overflow and surplus of funds. And so I'm never about anybody having an excuse as it relates to not going to college because of the money. And so, you know, I didn't have funds from the institution, but I was able to, that was my first hustle. And my struggle meal during that time, of course, like most, just some oodles and noodles, some ramen noodles, you know,
Right.
boiling water in the microwave and stirring it up when I, you know, get to that point where you broke and you're like, listen, I got to do what I got to do. So.
Okay. All right. So now that your game has been elevated, your life has been blessed and everything, talk to me about like your Juneteenth cookout essentials.
Juneteenth cookout essentials. I mean, so I've been told time and time again that Juneteenth, you know, it's about eating foods that are red. So, you know, we're doing watermelon and red velvet cake and, you know, some grilled salmon and things that just more or less represent that red clay and that red dirt that's down there in Texas. And I've been told that it also represents just the bloodshed of our ancestors that we unfortunately experienced, and we are celebrating their lives by, either wearing red or just eating foods that are red during that time, you know. And so those are some of the things that are on my menu. But of course, you know, we're gonna throw some collard greens in there, some potato
My
salad,
man.
some of the traditional things that you know. I'm not a big meat connoisseur, but for my brothers and sisters who do, you know, I'm definitely sure that you can throw us some barbecue from Kansas City. You know, I've heard that KC got the best barbecue in the country. You know, I haven't had the opportunity to travel out there, but
Come on down, I'll treat you. Come on down.
okay, I'll hold you to it. I'll call you up and like, listen.
Just reach out to Madeline. I'll put together a barbecue tour for you that will blow your mind.
Okay.
Yeah, most definitely. As we move in, you're going to be obviously blessing us with new music. Maybe I'll find somebody. I'll tap into the closed circuit TV situation out there in LA. They got plenty, and I might be able to see what's going on. But what are some of the new tunes that you think and new artists that you think we might be listening to coming from your sets?
It's funny because I think it's less about always new music, and it's something I had to reconnect with recently. Because sometimes I'm always wanting to bring the new. But you know, when folks are out drinking responsibly and having a good time and celebrating, you know, I've learned that once we get over the age of 33, that people become aggressively less interested in new music. They want that old thing back. And so, it's a 21 and over event. So of course I'll be throwing in a few new jams, but my real focus is making sure I present music that we know and love and drives a sense of nostalgia, but presenting it in a new way. So that means taking a Rihanna song or an SWV song and mixing it with a relatively new genre called I'm a Piano coming out of South Africa.
I'm a
Then,
piano's dope.
man, I'm a Piano, those drums and the way that hit, you know what I mean?
Yes, yes, yes.
Like again, like as I mentioned earlier with the analogy of the body massage, like I'm playing East Coast hip hop. I'm playing, New Orleans bounce. I'm playing some screw from Houston. Like I'm playing a number of things, particularly in a city like Los Angeles, where it's truly a melting pot of people from so many places across the country, across the world. I'm doing my best to tap into every part of the diaspora to make sure that everyone feels welcomed as we celebrate Juneteenth.
Indeed. I have to confess that at my age, I'll be 59 tomorrow, right?
Shout out. Come on. Oh, really? Tomorrow? That's my mother's birthday. So it must have been my
Yeah,
mother's birthday is June 16th as well. Y'all share Tupac's birthday. So
Tupac's birthday. Yeah,
yeah, happy
yeah.
birthday.
Thank you very much. I found what you said to be true. The older I get, I don't like to go out with the kids. Now, I have, as a journalist, obviously I have to go to and have new experiences and mingle with people. But I prefer when I'm partying, as the type of party that you're presenting, I certainly want everything to feel kind of familiar. I want to just be able to just jam all the time and be like, damn, I remember, or
Yeah.
who is that? Yeah, or I remember the first time that, the Afro beats was introduced into hip hop or R&B 30 years ago. You know what I mean? I remember, Bunny Wailer and on those guys having an effect on some music 20, 30 years ago. I'm like, yeah. So I respect what you're saying.
Thank
I understand that you might have a little opinion about mixing some dishes and cocktails and maybe some pairings. I heard you might have a little something to say about that.
you.
What do you got?
In LA, if you live in LA, it's all about the tequila.
Okay, okay.
Tequila is the only spirit that's more or less an upper. You know what I'm saying? So we're happy to have Sean Diddy Combs brand on board, that DeLeon Tequila. You know what I mean? We and our mixologists have some just incredible things that they're whipping up behind the kitchen. Again, I don't want to give away too much.
That's right. Got to be there.
And I'll be sober until after I get off stage, and then when I get off stage, and I'll be enjoying a cocktail with some of my buddies who already be ahead of me.
Okay. Throughout the year, I know that you're planning things and making announcements. What's the best way for us to keep up with the B-Hen Block Party?
Sure, it's all about social media. So at my personal social media page is at it's Brian Henry, ITS Brian with an I Henry, as well as the block party page is at B-Hen Block Party. Both of those social media pages across all the internets and interwebs is an easy way to keep in track with us. And then they can really get the experience as well. We shout out to our content team, my guys Malachi and Lamar, who make sure that we are posting all of the footage in real time and just showing really the robust and lively nature of the celebration. So again, man, we're excited. And, some of the markets we're going into for the first time, like Chicago and New York. So, in these markets, particularly like a New York, is the essence of block party. The cool Hercs back in the day started the block party. So we feel that we got to come even harder
Right.
for a market like New York to really pay homage to those who come before us. And so, I'm excited. Like even talking to you about it now, just hyping me up even more.
Look, I'm very proud for you, young man. You
Thank you.
young lion. We need your energy. We need people with your intestinal fortitude to stick with it and show others that we can do these big things with no casualties and just bring people together from all walks of life. I would ask you in 60 seconds to encapsulate maybe your philosophy, the B-Hen philosophy.
Whew, 60 seconds. I'll be talking a lot. That's I think it's just extremely important to heal. Heal in it from the things that have traumatized you in your past. And sometimes those things aren't even from your past. Sometimes those traumas are passed on through to you. But really take time to tap into your uniqueness and allow yourself to heal, because in doing so, you get to align with who God created you to be in this lifetime. And really live a life of deep passion and purpose. But so much, in order for us to get there, we have to, courageously face the things that challenge us the most and stop trying to sweep those things under the rug. I'm a huge advocate of mental health and awareness, particularly for my brothers and sisters. And so, speak to a therapist. Talk to your pastor. Talk to someone who may be in a space to help you beyond the things that you are most challenged by. I mean, because in doing so, life just becomes you get the opportunity to experience life in its your greatest capacity. But so often we have to put that energy into healing first.
Mm. Look out, this dude is dangerous, Brian Henry. Love it.
Listen, bro, I'm just a vessel. You know what I mean? I ain't over here trying to preach or nothing, but I've seen it time and time again, and even in what we do with this event, the church ain't the only place where you can minister to people. Church ain't the only place where you can get people to connect and feel loved. And that's what we work to do. We work to create a safe space and environment where everyone feels loved, appreciated, and respected. And that's why this event has continuously been successful year over year, because we drive home a feeling that lasts and reverberates for people for weeks to come.
All right, Brian Henry, B-Hen Block Party. This year, June 18th, Los Angeles, sponsored by DIAGEO. Great group of people. This young lion right here deserves our support. DIAGEO is showing that support as a corporate citizen by taking the block party across the nation, Chicago, DC, et cetera, et cetera. We're going to throw up the links so you'll be able to get tickets and check out the calendar. And young lion, I wish you much continued success. You've got a friend here at the Hype Magazine. Anytime you want to come back throughout the year, it doesn't have to be just on the block party days, and you want to talk about a new project, you're going to do a DJ album or something like that, you want to drop it off, hit us up and let us know what's going on.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, Jerry. I appreciate you, my man. Shout out to Hype Magazine.
Appreciate you.